ultimate automation toolbox for home service businesses. Chirp helps you capture more leads, connect faster, close more deals, and create customers that will buy from you over and over again. Using text message, email, and ringless voicemail automation, with Chirp, you can maintain perfect follow-up throughout the entire customer journey. Learn more about how to transform your customer experience on chirp.com today.
CHIIRP.
On Purpose Media is a digital marketing agency surfacing the home services industry with a flair for HVAC businesses. The right combination of digital marketing makes all the difference. Take your business to the next level. Check out onpurposemedia.ca today.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Hi, welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. We're so excited. Leslie and I are here today with Ashley, aka HVAC Ash on Instagram, and we're going to give her a few seconds to introduce herself and tell us what she does and who she is.
Well, thanks so much for having me on, ladies. Appreciate it. I'm excited to be a part of this. So I am the regional sales manager and marketing director for Global The Source. Most people probably won't know what Global The Source is, but we actually are a master distributor and a manufacturer for small parts and pieces. We're really, really well known for the turbo universal capacitor. You know, it's basically the most common, part in HVAC. So, I've been with them for about 5 years now, and here we are.
That's awesome. When I first was reading your bio and everything, I too had to look that up. What is Global The Source? But you're right. The second I saw the turbo capacitor, I'm like, oh, okay. That's really cool. The turbos are really cool. Leslie has no clue.
Capacitor.
Leslie's mostly in the plumbing industry. And so the capacitor. You got it. She called it a capacitator, and I will forever call it that now. But a turbo is really cool because it's like it can one capacitor on the turbo can be like 10 capacitors, so you have to carry less product.
Yeah, so you can basically, instead of having like hundreds of capacitors on your truck, right? That's a lot of space, a lot of inventory, a lot of dollars. You can basically carry 3 sizes. So we've got little minis for all your fan sizes, and then your Turbo 200 and 200X are for your compressor and fan, single or dual. And then they're American made, which is obviously a huge selling point as well.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, super cool.
I'm nodding my head. I still don't know what you guys are talking about.
She's like capacitor.
It's basically the battery for the unit. That's like the easiest way to describe it. It's what keeps it running.
Yeah, and people are always like, it looks like a beer can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever heard that? No. Okay.
I have heard of a beer can. But,
okay. So what got you into the trades?
That's a great question, and I wish I had a really cool story, but it was super random. I'm a big travel fan, so I'd actually taken what I call my early retirement, and I took about 3 years off and was just traveling around, and I came back and needed money and a job. And I had a friend who was in the industry, and I knew that Global was hiring, and they're like, well, we need some help if you're interested in doing sales. And prior to my retirement, I had done sales for software. And it just kind of, I was like, okay, I'll try it. We'll see what happens. And here we are, almost 5 years later.
Cool.
So that's interesting. I've always been really intimidated by sales. So if you were going to give any suggestions for women starting out in sales, especially in our field, do you have any resources or tips? Because it can be super lucrative.
Yes. I think sales in general can be lucrative.
Right.
As a female in this industry, I feel like you're a gem. If you can get in this industry and hold your own, you can go wherever you want.
Right.
Because I will say, people kind of discount you at first. As long as you know your stuff, you can dominate. I would say be persistent, and I would say be confident. I think it took me a couple years really to find my groove and really be really confident about the product and feel confident walking into strangers' offices and really selling not only myself but the product too, right?
Sure.
It's kind of intimidating. You walk into an office where a guy's been in the industry for 20 years. It's his company,
And they want to catch you off guard.
Exactly. It's like a test, right?
Yes.
Are you sure about that? Like, yes.
Challenge
yes, I'm
accepted.
sure. Exactly.
Do you follow any sort of podcasts, or have there been any books that you have read that you continue to like educate yourself on that and just stay relevant, keep your mind sharp?
So I try to read as much as possible. I just finished Atomic Habits, which I think is
good.
really good. For me, I think reading and journaling have always been really powerful. So I have like a whiteboard up in our kitchen that has like my goals for the year for like all levels, like financial, like emotional, spiritual, like that kind of stuff. And I try to keep like that broken down into smaller sections so I feel like it's more attainable, right? So like if I know if I want to make X amount of dollars this year, I need to be at this level between this quarter and this level between this quarter. And I try to break it down like that. But I'm a reader. I'm kind of a nerd.
But you do that with your personal life too. Like you
Yeah.
break down your goals. What was that?
The one-page miracle.
Yeah. That's so important because I think as women in general, we have so much to prove to the world because everybody discounts us. And so I think what we typically do is we take on not more than we can chew, but way more than most do.
Absolutely.
And then how do you prioritize it? We were talking to someone yesterday and she said you have to win, and that means what's important now,
I love that.
and then focus now on something or that thing, and then you carry on because we have. I don't know if you have kids or spouse or whatever, but that's in our lives. We have kids, and then we get here for this specifically at AHR, and we're like, there's mom guilt, and should I be doing this, and am I missing that? And if you don't prioritize every single piece of your life and set the goals and then prioritize them, you're really discounting yourself.
Yep.
And there's really something about writing down your goals where you can see them every day because
Absolutely.
you have to be accountable to it. I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, it's something I've done for the last couple of years as I got more, I would say, ambitious about what I want, right? And I really think that, you can't set the limit, right? I think sometimes we set like a ceiling for ourselves, like, oh, I'll never be able to make that, or I'll never be able to do that. But if you kind of do it in the increments, it feels a lot more attainable. Like I never thought I would be like a marketing director. Like that wasn't in the game plan, right? I really didn't think I'd be in HVAC this long, to be honest. But, we've had a lot of growth and we're continuing to grow and I'm continuing to grow. So it's like the sky's the limit,
Yeah, the sky's the limit, and the don't create a ceiling for yourself because I think we're so guilty of that too. Actually, I have a 22-year-old son, and every time that I talk to him, he's like, if I don't have this done by this time, I won't be successful. And I'm like, bro, you don't even know what success means, because it's not that you don't know what success means, but success changes. And when we set these goals for ourselves and we say, I will be great if I do that this year, what we end up doing is we hit that goal, we exceed the goal, and we forgot that was the goal, and now we're holding ourselves accountable to something else because we're ambitious. We want to be, we have, something to prove to the world. And I think that's a good point for sure.
Yeah.
Would you want to share any of your goals that you wrote down for 23?
Yeah, so I own a rental property currently, so I am...
Leslie's so excited.
I didn't even see that on your Instagram.
I'm trying to build like my own portfolio. That's kind of like the long-term game, I would say, is continue to buy more rental properties. So the market so I'm in Arizona, but the market in Arizona is kind of weird right now.
Well, they just had a crash because of all the Airbnbs that came in and saturated it.
Yeah. And like we're still really high though.
Right.
So it's like, it's just
It's
a
such a
weird
spot.
dynamic.
Right.
So I'm looking at buying another property. That's my goal for this year, is get another property under my belt, whether it be fully rental or potentially one that we like live in for a year, fix up, and then, convert it into
House hack.
Yeah, house hack. Yep. So that's probably my biggest one from like a personal non-work perspective. From work, so last year I hit about $1 million in growth in sales, which is huge.
Congrats.
So I'd like to replicate and beat that, while also taking on a couple more employees from management perspective. So those are probably the big ones.
I love both of those.
And then I always try to hit a new country every year. That's always a goal.
What's the country for 23?
So I've really, really, really been wanting to go to Africa. I would really love to do a safari. And then Turkey. So I'm looking at both of those to see if we can make that happen.
That's awesome.
They're also both expensive. Really, Africa is so expensive.
So I love that. I am scared of flying over the water like that. Like I'm going to Jamaica on Monday.
Okay.
I leave on Monday, and I have to like not look at that about how much water I'll fly over.
Don't think about it too
So-
much.
Sit in the aisle.
Yeah, I'm like, so I'm not sure. But so I feel like all of my worldly experience comes from 90 Day Fiance.
Okay.
What is 90 Day Fiancé?
Come on. It's like,
Is it a show?
Yes. And it's just like dumb TV. And
It's like reality TV.
Yes, it's reality TV. And it's like these women, most often women that, or sometimes men from America that'll go and marry some dude in Turkey or somewhere. And then sometimes they come here and live in America, and then sometimes they go there. So that's my experience with the world.
Do they get married out? Are they just deciding after the 90 days if they want to stay together?
Well,
to
I
actually
think
get
it
married?
started 90 Day Fiance because I think previously in America you had to be with someone for 90 days to be able to get citizenship. But I think that's all changed now.
Yeah,
It's wild.
I think it depends.
But that's
on where
my
you are,
life
but-
experience with traveling.
Okay.
I always get on there and
I
like,
got lots of tips for you if you need anything.
I need to be more like,
This
ambitious
flows
with that.
really well into my next question. So, as I was creeping your Instagram, I noticed that you were in Joshua Tree, and we have a goal to hit 2 national parks a year while my kids are little. So, I want to ask you, what is your favorite national park?
Zion, hands down. It's like you're in a totally different world.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I try to take like a solo trip by myself as well, just to really experience things. I think it's a totally different experience when you're solo versus when you're with other people. It's also very empowering. So I went to Zion by myself for like 3 days. And
Did you do the Narrows?
I didn't do the Narrows. It was closed for some weird bacteria in the water. So I was good on that. But I did do
Water filtration.
I did do the Angel's Landing though, which is like the tallest hike with the chains on the side of the mountain. And I watched the sunrise come up, and I froze my butt off. It was like 19 degrees, but
Oh my gosh.
but it was magical. Like hands down, one of the most positive experiences. I think I ended up hiking like 13 miles that day, just like solo, experiencing.
It was like walking
nature.
through the expo here
I think
yesterday.
yes.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, this expo is massive.
Only prepared for it.
This was our national park
This was for 2020
for 23.
Q1 National Park.
AHR.
Right, it's so big. I whose step thing said we walked 5 miles yesterday?
It had to be more than that.
It had to be. I was like, goodness.
Most businesses' online presence is boring. And by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Key Heart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Key Heart Marketing at keyheartmarketing.com.
Okay, so Leslie keeps talking about your Instagram, but we haven't really talked about that. So you're a pretty big influencer in the HVAC world, and so if you didn't catch anyone listening who didn't catch that earlier, your Instagram is HVAC Ash, right?
Yeah, it's HVAC _Ash.
Underscore
But
Ash.
I just say HVAC Ash because it sounds better.
I bet you still pop up at least show. So what made you do that and open that up, and how did you grow? What was the goals?
So it honestly came out of COVID. So as a salesperson, right, like we're normally in the field going and talking to people, and I couldn't. right? I was stuck at home in my apartment, and I'm like, I am so bored. Like, what am I gonna do? And they're like, just pick up the phone. I'm like, I don't really want to do that. So, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start an Instagram. And they were like, no, we don't really want you to do it. And I was like, so I did it anyways. I didn't tell anyone. And I was like, if it's successful, then I'll have something to show and be like, look, I was right. And if it's crappy, then no one will know and it'll be fine.
Right.
And so I kind of started by looking at some of the other people I knew in the space, a couple of influencers that I had met in person and whatnot, like kind of in the industry. And I went to their pages and I started following people that follow them. And then I just started posting content. So most of it started out as education on our products that we sell. So just in my apartment, taking photos of capacitors and, float switches and doing little like selfie videos. And it's just kind of grown from there. And it's even weird, like saying like, oh, you're a big influencer. I don't feel like that. It's I don't know. The community here is really, really cool, right? There's a little bit of downplay, I feel like, right? Where you don't want to be like, I'm an influencer, because I don't feel
because our trades were so late to the game in socials.
Yes.
So you kind of were part of that change. And I think people are experiencing that now. TikTok has been really huge for us personally, but they were kind of late to the game. So it was a big deal. What you did was a big deal.
Yeah, we were making sales off of Instagram.
It's just like anything else.
What? It's very cool though.
I mean, but what do we do last night whenever we were done with this and I was so exhausted, but I couldn't shut my brain down? What was I doing? I was on Instagram scrolling and I was trying to like chill out. And then I buy t-shirts and I always say, or it's like a hoodie. The other day I sent Leslie this hoodie, this sweater,
t-shirts.
and it says ambitious on it. And it was like an Instagram ad, but I bought it, and sometimes
they targeted you directly.
They did.
And they won.
But that's the truth with Instagram for you is they're targeting the right person that's looking up HVAC hacks or HVAC something, and that the targeting works. The algorithms freak me out sometimes.
Yeah, it's scary.
But they're listening. They are. Like when I'm gonna get off of here. We're all gonna get off of here, and we're just gonna be like, our Instagram is gonna be like flooded with capacitators.
Capacitors.
So. Do you feel like you captured a really good audience? Is it mostly techs? Is it owners?
Other females?
Yeah. So it's still, there are other females. It's still probably a fairly low percentage. I want to say the last time I looked, because, at the analytics, it's like 92% men and 8% women. It is pretty much everyone in this industry. Like, I don't really have any like random followers or stuff that's not related to HVAC, which is really cool because that means I'm getting the right message out to the right people, right?
Quality, not quantity.
But it is, it's crazy. I was able to. Do you guys know about HVAC Tactical? So I got in with Ben and went to his show last year in Vegas, and then this year I participated with them again, and we sponsored their event, actually. Global sponsored their event, and then we did I got to do the red carpet, so it was like interviewing people as they came in because it was a
fun.
black tie event, so everyone was all dressy, which is great for blue collar, right?
Sure.
Like everyone all dressed up and looking snazzy. But the community that he's built is insane, and I feel like I've kind of piggybacked on that, and it's really refreshing because I think I mentioned, I remember feeling very like abnormal or whatever, like I don't know what the right, like an outsider. There we go. That's a great word. An outsider in the industry just for being a female. And then going to some of the events with HVAC Tactical and kind of doing this, it opened it up so much. And like the guys are amazing. And if you talk to any of them, they're like the community, so supportive, which is really, really cool.
I love that. And I think that they deserve a shout out for that too, for like welcoming you in and being like supportive and understanding, because we don't always, as women in this space, get that. I remember whenever I first started working in our company, walking into supply houses and the utter disrespect as the owner. I mean, I had to have a full like Pretty Woman moment one time, like turn around and be like, do you understand that the woman who signed that check is standing right here, like give me my check back, but we have to fight for that. And I think that whenever we do have men in the space that are paying attention, like Ben and like HVAC Tactical, that's paying attention and being receptive and being supportive and saying, here, let me help you grow. That's amazing, because what you are doing, you work where you work now, but HVAC Ash is your brand, and you're branding yourself. And that's a huge thing, because that's going to carry you forever.
Yeah, I've gotten all these really cool opportunities, like sitting here with you ladies, which it was so wild. Literally the day that I saw the podcast, like your guys' podcast popped up on my feed, and I had literally like an hour earlier posted something about how it's kind of disappointing that there's not a lot of women who are in charge of the businesses or like doing leadership things, right? Like my feed has been dominated by men. Right.
Yeah.
It's men talking about like, go out there, hustle, crush it. Yeah. But there's nothing really targeted for women. And then you guys popped up and I was like, oh yeah, it's listening. You guys popped up and I was like,
weird how
oh,
that
this is so
happens.
weird. Very serendipitous.
Right.
But that's exactly how this podcast was born, because we know we go down that same path of where are the women, we see these events posted with the lineups, and it's like, but where are the women, and the truth is that Leslie and I know a lot of them, and they're never getting the showcase, or the spotlight.
Well, on the on the contractor side, it can be really discouraging as a female, not because you're getting disrespect, although you may get that. I don't feel like I've experienced that so much on the side I'm on, but you're just not seeing any representation with big business. So it was really important for us to go and find these women, and there are women doing really big business, and it's fun to talk to them. The wisdom that they have, but they're really not the ones being asked to speak at events, or they're not going to promote themselves, or whatever it is. So that's been really cool for us, because they're out there,
Well, and that led us to you. That's led us to so many different people. I met a lady in Texas who is a salesperson for a big distributor there. And I mean, she has a massive territory, massive. She's a baddie, but how does anyone know about her? And so I think that continuing to change the narrative, having conversations, having your Instagram, doing those things and showcasing what you're doing, that's how we change. And that's how we keep growing as an industry, as females in the industry. And, Leslie and I always say, like, we still like the guys, it's not about that.
Well, and I feel like I need to add, the most support we've gotten in this podcast has been men. Our sponsors are all men. They don't question the dollar amount or what we're doing. So, like, shout out.
Yeah. Yes. Some of our biggest fans here, like, have been like, what do you need? Can we give you something? It's all the men, And so, like, we said earlier, sometimes women, we were chatting before, sometimes women, we're our own problem. And I think that until we start, are we the problem?
Are we the problem?
Yeah.
I think we're the problem.
Maybe partially.
And I think that we have to change that. We have to speak better to each other. We have to speak better to ourselves.
We just have to share our stories, and I just think you are such an encouragement to women in sales. I mean, it's kind of a twofold. Sales can be hard. It's statistically, women are not always in sales, and then to be in the industry. So drop your Instagram handle one more time for us.
Yep. So it's at HVAC_Ash.
Awesome.
And is there anything else you want to leave us with, or advice? Life?
Yeah, I mean, if you can dream it, you can do it. That sounds so corny, but like realistically,
and write it down.
Write it down. That, I feel like once you get that out every morning, write it down someplace where you can see it every day. It definitely helps like push you to continue to push towards that goal, for sure.
I went to class one time and they said if you don't schedule it, it will not get done.
Amen.
And so I will stop and put it in my calendar right now. Just little things. And so it's for the reminders. So write it down, schedule it. You can do anything you want to do. I think that's amazing. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Yes, this has been great.
I think you're awesome. And I hope that well, maybe we'll see you next year here too. Hopefully not. Maybe
Chicago.
Maybe
yeah.
before next year.
Yeah, maybe before. We're gonna start traveling together. No. Leslie, we're always
got
trying to
you.
plan something.
We are. I'm always asking, can we do an on-site there? She's in San Diego. Are you sure you don't want to go there?
Yeah, she's like, let's go and we'll do our podcast there because they're located here. And I'm like, okay,
Somewhere fun.
Yeah,
It's a write-off.
Little beach backdrop.
It's a write-off.
it's a write-off. That's funny. Well, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and keep doing what you're doing for the other women in the industry.
Thanks so much. It's been
Thank
quite
you.
the pleasure.
Being a power woman of the trades requires powerful business branding. With KickCharge Creative, you can make sure your home service business is branded, not blanded. The proof is in our podcast logo. They created it. Now more than ever, having consistent branding that sends a clear message is essential to helping you stand out. To get started on carving out your company's unique identity, contact the KickCharge Creative's branding experts online at kickcharge.com or call 908-835-9000 today. 85% of home service business owners like you are struggling to find the right talent. As your business grows and you look for ways to scale, you are constantly looking for new talent. However, finding the right person to fill a position can be difficult and expensive. Most people turn to job boards or recruitment agencies when looking to hire in the trades, but these methods can be costly and time-consuming. The solution? Working with Yellowstone Local. They offer employer branding, recruiting, and hiring solutions that are specifically tailored for home service companies and the trades. Their services are affordable and will help you reduce the amount of time it takes to find and hire a new employee. Save your time, reduce your turnover, and increase your sales. Check out YellowstoneLocal.com to get started. This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review in Apple and make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.